you to please ask questions, teachers, Manpreet ma'am, Sapreet ma'am. And when Vivek is speaking, we'll request that each one of us can mute ourselves and stop our videos so that teachers can get full concentration on Vivek's speech. So that's the format we'll use today. And we'll start in 1 minute sharp. So it's 2:59 according to my watch, and we'll start at sharp 3 o'clock. So I think we already have 30 odd participants, Vivek. So another 40 seconds and we start.
Sure.
I think Meenakshi ma'am is also here. Hello, yeah. Meenakshi ma'am.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yeah,
Good evening.
She is coordinator of middle wing.
Lovely.
This is Meenakshi.
So I think it's time to start. Vivek, if you allow us, can we start?
Please go ahead.
So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, teachers.
Good afternoon.
Vivek,
Good afternoon.
Sapreet ma'am, Meenakshi ma'am, Manpreet ma'am, good afternoon. Welcome to Ideas That Matter. Ideas That Matter is a series of webinars organized by Shoolini University, Khosla Hills, Himachal Pradesh. It's something that Vivek and I do every day, talking to the best of schools across the country. The idea behind Ideas That Matter was to get into a dialogue, inspire each other, and hopefully in the process, inspire our students who really need inspiration in these very tough times. I'm very thankful to all of you to be here today, and also thankful to Vivek. As all of you know, Vivek is an ex-IAS officer, a TEDx speaker, a motivational speaker, an author, and also a very dear friend of mine and visiting professor at Shoolini University. So Vivek will be predominantly hosting the session today. Of course, we all know Vivek has been a great leader, and he'll talk about some of his experiences from his life. And as all of you might also know, he also runs a small school that his wife, actually Nina ma'am, runs it, which he supports. A quick introduction to me. My name is Atul Khosla. I am the Pro-Vice Chancellor and founder of Shoolini University. As a quick background, I'm a BTech from IIT Kanpur, an MBA after that, and then 20 years in the industry. Multinationals like McKinsey and Company, and 7 different countries and 35 different cities that I've worked in. 7 years ago, I decided to get into teaching. I'm a very proud teacher now. I love to teach, and I'm so glad that I'm with all of you today. I think with that introduction, I'll request Manpreet ma'am to please speak to us for a short 1 minute, and we'll then hand it over to Vivek. Over to you, Manpreet ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
We can't hear you, ma'am. Vivek, can you hear Manpreet ma'am?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. On the behalf of the management and staff of Modern Senior Secondary School, I, Manpreet Sharma, extend a warm welcome to Mr. Vivek Atray and Mr. Atul Khosla. Mr. Vivek is the name that needs no introduction. It was just 3 years and 4 days back, on 27th of May 2017, when he had motivational talk with the faculty members of Modern Senior Secondary School. He is known for his achievements in this field. Retired as a graceful, popular IAS officer, he is a great mentor, advisor, author, and motivational speaker. His talks received over 15 lakh views on YouTube. He is the founder of Suvichar think tank. He is advisor and professor at Shoolini University. He is also the founder of Vibrant Networking Forum and the Chandigarh Literary Society. He is co-convener of Intech Chandigarh. He has inspired thousands of youngsters to adopt a cheerful, positive, and multidimensional approach. Sir, your words, what comes from the heart goes straight to the heart. I repeat your words, what comes from the heart goes straight to the heart. And be calmly active and actively calm. Be calmly active and actively calm are still fresh in our minds. Thank you for joining us. I also feel privileged to welcome Professor Atul Khosla, who is founder, president, and pro-vice chancellor at Shoolini University. Mr. Atul is a B.Tech from IIT Kanpur and MBA from Jamnalal Bajaj Institute, Mumbai. Mr. Atul took initiatives at Shoolini and collaborated with top industries and global universities. He started new innovative academic programs, transforming a traditional system to new methods of skill-based education. Mr. Atul teaches finance and strategy, and he is a guest and visiting faculty at many famous global universities. On the other hand, he is a consultant and advisor in number of companies. You have rightly said in a recent webinar, probably it was day before yesterday, when you said the teachers are also the true Corona warriors, as they are inspiring their students every single day. Last but not the least, I would like to welcome Ms. Shikha Sood and Mr. Kamal, who has coordinated with us and organized this beautiful webinar. Thank you. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Atul.
Thank you, Manpreet ma'am. You make us blush. Truly appreciate for your very kind words. We now have performance pressure, Vivek. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Atul, for that warm welcome as always. It's a pleasure to do these webinars with you. And Shoolini University's series of webinars has now reached so many schools and so many teachers that it is probably spreading the fragrance of knowledge and inspiration. And thank you, Manpreet ma'am, for the warm welcome. Very nice of you to quote from a lecture last 3 years ago that I delivered in school to the teachers, along with your chairman that day, Mr. Jujhar Singh. He was also with me, and we were both there, I remember. And also warm welcome to Meenakshi ma'am, Sarpreet ma'am, and others who have joined. Thank you, Shikha and Kamal, for putting this together. All of you have done a great job. So, Manpreet ma'am and teachers and everybody who is present, let me say that you are all leaders. You are leaders right from the time when you became teachers. And even when you were not teachers, you were leaders. All human beings at some point or other have somebody who is looking up to them. Even a 5-year-old has a 3-year-old sibling who is looking up to the 5-year-old, learning new tricks, learning new ways, learning how to go about life. So a 5-year-old also is a leader. Now there is a connotation of political a kind of tinge in the word leader at times. People think, they say that this person thinks that he's a leader. Now that is not what we're talking about here. Leadership is not confined to politics or to various other segments of society. It is all pervasive, all pervading, and everywhere. So as I said, everybody is a leader. Let us look at the leadership role of teachers. Just now you quoted Atul Khosla as saying that you teachers are also Corona warriors. And he's been saying that in all the webinars. And he's absolutely right, because anyone who is braving the circumstances, going about their jobs in whatever way, you need not be on the road, you need not be in the hospital, although the hospital staff and the doctors and the faculty and the staff there have made us proud. I also had a webinar with hospital staff and doctors of various countries recently. But the teachers who are at home or in their places and teaching children in this crisis period are also warriors and leaders, because they are all looking up to you, these children, for some kind of not only knowledge, but also inspiration. So let's talk about inspiration for a couple of minutes. Inspiration is something which we take lightly at times. Now, I'm a motivational speaker by profession now, and motivational speaking is basically inspirational speaking. It is my job to make people remember that we are here not only to go through the business of whatever work we do and go through the motions, go through the routine, but to think in higher terms. So you quoted actually me, but it is actually Paramahansa Yoganandaji's words be calmly active and actively calm. These are his words. But also, Paramahansa Yogananda, author of the autobiography of a yogi, said, think in grand terms, eternity, infinity. I mean, we are living in times where sometimes we get too closeted, too confined, and too localized in our thought processes. So we are always, my this, my that. Most people, and we are human, of course, we have to be, we get too much confined in our thought processes. My home, my food, my car, my this, my that. When we expand our thought process to include the whole country, to include the whole world, to include everybody who is on this planet. And I myself find that I have also evolved in that manner by thinking of others more today than I used to think earlier. Thinking of birds and animals, which I was not much of an animal lover. About 3 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, we kept a dog at home, and a very senior person in our family said that you must, otherwise we were not going to. The younger daughter wanted to keep a dog, Kavya. The older one was a little scared, Spreha, but we kept that dog. And he has made our life so beautiful. He keeps playing around, even though he's 2.5 years old. My daughter Kavya says he's now grown up, but he doesn't seem grown up. Birds chirping all over. In fact, today I was playing an audio of birds chirping because they stop chirping around the afternoon when it's very hot. They're chirping in the morning and evening. That bird chirping noise sound makes me feel so nice and blessed while I'm working on my computer. Now, if we think in terms of expanding our hearts and think in terms of involving others in our success or happiness, then our leadership role grows and we become better human beings instead of confining ourselves to the ego. So I often say that the ego is our greatest enemy, and many people say that. And our ego tells us, you have to look after yourself only. No, we have to look after ourselves and our families and our friends and our society. So we have to do our bit. Environment, let us take. If we look at the environment, it has improved so much in the previous few months because of the virus, lockdown, etc. And so many parameters of pollution have gone down, and so many parameters of environment have gone up. Good environment, pure air, pure water has come back. If we as citizens start thinking of the environment and take the lead in our small ways, our school, your school can do so. And if we get in that environment protection habit and thinking into the children's minds, then how beautiful their lives will be. Once we do that, then we are showing leadership. So how can teachers inspire their children? I think that teachers need to be walking, talking models of inspiration. And you are. And models, of course, doesn't mean fashion models. It means role models. It means role models who are inspiring for the students. And the students look at them and they feel, I want to be like ma'am. I want to be like sir. That is how teachers have to be. And they are. In many ways, they are. I remember my teachers. I often tell the story. And before we close for a little break, I'm going to tell this story. Brother Murray was a teacher of mine in St. John's High School, Chandigarh, where I came from Delhi. So I came in class 9. And in class 9, I was quite confident, but these boys of St. John's were not very friendly with me. Because I'd come from modern school Delhi, they thought he thinks too much of himself or whatever it is. They were not talking to me much. After a few days of silence in the class, I suddenly attended, in one of the classes, Brother Murray asked a question. And I raised my hand. Nobody else could and did. So I was so lucky to get the right answer. And I remember still the answer was something in the offing. Something is going to happen, which means it's in the offing. Your English teachers know that. So it was in the offing. And he said, good boy. And the class looked at me because suddenly their viewpoint about me changed. This boy is a good boy. That means that there is something in him. So they started becoming more friendly, whatever. Now, Brother Murray, by saying that good boy, is in my heart even today. I may have remembered him even otherwise. I do. He was a great teacher. But because he said that to me, how encouraged I felt. how encouraged I feel even today. And that word emanating from the mouth of a teacher, a good word to a child who has done something notable, will change the child's life, will give that child inspiration. We're talking about inspirational leadership. All you need is to be a role model and to encourage children. Of course, sometimes you have to be firm, you have to be strict, but that should not be too much. It should not be so much that negativity fills the ears and being of the child. So always, largely we are positive, we are forthcoming in our encouragement, and we help people, we tell people, we show people, that is children, the way forward in life. So I'm going to hand it over to Atul Khosla because I believe we have a 3:50 stop today and we have enough time. But we have enough time to see a video of an experiment beautifully conducted at Shoolini. And Aman is the star student over there. Over to you, Atul.
Thank you, Vivek. So amazing, inspiring words as always. And that's really what I'm going to talk about, which is inspiration. A great leader, especially as a teacher, brings an amazing amount of inspiration. So to me, Vivek, such a teacher makes ordinary people extraordinary, ordinary students extraordinary. I always tell my faculty that there's no fun, making excellent students do well because they anyway will do very well in life. But how do you pick up students who otherwise will probably fall off the cliff? How do you make them extraordinary? And that's what great leaders do. And that's what great teachers do. So this is the story of Aman that I want to talk about. Aman is doing her PhD at Shoolini, a rather ordinary student, a difficult student actually in her undergrad and masters, suddenly blossomed in a PhD. She blossoms to the extent that she has won something called the Young Water Fellowship. It's a very prestigious award by the United Nations. More than 100,000 researchers across the world, including Harvard and Oxford, apply for this award. And bingo, Aman won it out of all of them. She spent 6 months in Geneva as part of this award and has also won a 25 lakh award from Tata Trust. Now that's a huge achievement for someone who till her masters was very, very ordinary. And it all happened because of Dr. Saurabh Kulshrestha, who was one of her PhD guides. So Aman has worked on water. She's changing the way the world will possibly drink water. And who knows, one day she might even win the Nobel Prize. But more of that later as I will now play a video, if you allow me, Vivek.
Please.
So Vivek, I was just thinking, it's in times of distress, it's in time of needs that human beings step up and they create exceptional work. I think as teachers, as leaders, this is our time to inspire our students. It's our time to create many, many more Amans. And I'm sure all of you are already doing that. That's really a passion at Shoolini too. As we speak, I have to tell you, Vivek, that Shoolini is actually the #1 patent filer in India. Our students file more patents than any other institution in the country. Last year, they filed around 211 patents compared to 141 of IIT Chennai, which was #2. And that's what can happen when you give a great environment and inspirational leadership to students, and students pick it up and develop extraordinary results. So those are a few thoughts from me. Vivek, over to you now.
Thank you very much, Atul. I totally agree with you. Creativity and inspiration, they go together. And making, as you said, ordinary students or ordinary people into extraordinary people. That is your mission. I've been associated with Shoolini University, and I can see how laudable a mission that is and how innovative the approach is. Apart from being the highest patent filer, which in itself is a mind-boggling achievement. Shoolini University was off the blocks within 24 hours once this crisis and lockdown came. And online classes started seamlessly, online webinars like this one started immediately. Amazing leadership there. So leadership, a few more points about leadership of a school or leadership as a teacher or leadership as a principal or manager or vice principal. These are opportunities for us to show our decisiveness, which means that we decide quickly, we think clearly, we remain calm. Calmness, as I said earlier, and you also said, Matt, is something that is our asset. Being actively calm means that we keep checking our calmness levels. We see that have they eroded, have they declined, have they reduced, or are they increasing? So at the end of the day, we should still be calm. At the middle of the day, when parents are crowding or students are lots and teachers are there, then also we have to be calm. It's superhuman to be calm all the time. But most of the time, we should try to be calmer than others. And sometimes, once in a while, if we lose our cool, it's okay. Leadership which inspires is cool and calm leadership, not restless leadership. Restlessness, if taken in a positive way, is energy. Energy which is with us, and we are energetic about doing things, enthusiastic about doing, that's different, and that's great. If we are restless to the extent that we cannot be calm and stable, we cannot appreciate others, listen to others, then that restlessness is not our friend. Teachers, especially, I know, have to listen to students at times, have to wait patiently for many things to happen, have to wait patiently for exam results, whatever copies they're checking, have to wait while invigilating in an exam. There are so many things where patience is required. You also have to be online teachers nowadays, and you have such difficulties, I know, difficulties of the kind of, the kinds which lead you to online performances, where technology becomes a problem. Children may not listen, students may not pay attention. So many things come in. So these are challenging days, and even otherwise, you are leading a challenging life. You are also balancing your home, your family, your friends, and your school. But everyone is doing that. Think of a corporate professional who goes to work at 9 a.m. and comes back by 8 p.m. He is working in Gurgaon, let's say, and he has his laptop with him all the time. He is in one meeting or call after another on a normal day, before lockdown or without lockdown. He's always on. Even after 8 o'clock, he gets calls. These consultants, I see youngsters, they are extremely busy. Teachers have the opportunity after school, after other work, to spend time with the family, to spend time with their own children and balance their lives. It is easier for them. I know it is difficult even now. Homework is there, their classwork is there, tests are there. A lot of work is there, I know that. But a lot of work is there in many professions. Teachers have the opportunity to lead more balanced lives than, let us say, IAS officers, army officers, or consultants who lead quite unidimensional lives in many ways. Work-life balance is affected. By being a teacher who is good to her own children, a role model for her own children, you become a role model for your students at school also. Your own children will learn from you as to what you are, not what you say. If you say that do this, don't cross the red light, don't don't talk while eating, whatever it is you're telling your children, they will not listen if you are doing the same thing that you're telling them not to do. Children watch us very carefully. They learn from our examples. And our examples are the real thing that they need to absorb. And they will. So it depends on how we are, not what we say. And students also need to become creative under our leadership. The education system does not teach them to be creative. The education system tells them to memorize, to cram. And that information which they gather from there, then they reproduce it in the exam. But life is not about marks. Life is about making a mark. And this is a quote I mentioned in my book, Finding Success Within. So I'll just show you the cover of the book. This is the book, Finding Success Within. And it is a book that I wrote this year. It was published earlier this year. It is available on Amazon and it is available on Kindle as well as hard copy. 52 life skills have been covered in this book. So one of them is this, that how you can be creatively calm, how you can be an example, how you can be a leader who is a role model. There are many tips and chapters like that. I feel that one tip I can give you right now is that you must also work on yourself. That means that you are now 42 years old, let's say, for example. And 42 years old, you have seen a lot of life, but a lot of life is to come. So in that 42 age group, if you are innovative still wondering whether you can learn that guitar which you wanted to learn, still wanting to spend more time reading books of, let's say, about astronomy, which is your hobby. Photography is something that you like now. You want to do more nature photography. That means at 42, you still have a chance to renew and refresh your personality, to rejuvenate yourself. And that means that you are thinking like a youngster, even today. So the joke is, or the saying is, that if you are childlike, then that enthusiasm, that bubbling enthusiasm stays with you. So in a way, you have to be childlike. Childlike enthusiasm will help you in many ways to go ahead in life and not lose your enthusiasm. So let us also work on that. And meditation is something which I would also like to mention. I know that your chairman, Jujharji, also meditates. I also meditate. And this is something that we find very useful to us. And this meditation helps us to build calm. I know many of you read the scriptures. You go to the temple, Gurdwara also. That is great. Hopefully after 8th June, we can all go to the temple and Gurdwara. By and by, with social distancing, physical distancing. But where is the real temple? The real temple is within us. And the leadership qualities that we exhibit depend on how our temple within is. And that temple will be pure and clean and calm and balanced if we are meditating. This book, which I mentioned, Autobiography of a Yogi, is here. This is the book by Paramahansa Yogananda. And he is a great yogi and monk. Many of you have seen it. I follow this book and follow the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. Kriya Yoga I follow as meditation techniques. So follow anything you like. You can choose your technique. It can be linked to your religion. It can be spiritual. Spirituality is something which is universal. You just read something which helps you to meditate and then practice. And many people leave meditation after 5 minutes or even a few days they try and then they say, no, I can't meditate. My thoughts keep flying here and there. Of course, they will fly. You are human. Everybody who meditates has thoughts disturbing, maybe 40% of the time, maybe 80% of the time. However, we keep meditating. Even that 1 or 2% of peace which comes is worth it. So try and meditate. Your calmness will improve. And this could be morning and evening, early morning, late evening, whatever you like. And your calmness will improve. Your performance will improve. Your creativity will improve. Your way of talking will improve. Understanding others, you'll be able to do better. So I think these are the qualities that you will start exhibiting if you do all these things. So just to close my intervention before Atul speaks and before Atul shows you an inspiring video of Shoolini. Then we'll probably take questions. I'm going to just mention the 7 C's, which I do mention at times, which youngsters need to follow, which teachers also and older people also need to follow. These are the 7 C's of leadership, of life, success, and happiness. The first C is courage. Courage means fearlessness, how we need to be without fear. That means less fear. Number 2 is character. We do the right thing most of the time, 99% of the time. Character. We are human. Sometimes we may slip, but mostly we don't. Number 3 is cheerfulness. That means mostly we are positive and cheerful. Number 4 is creativity. I mentioned creativity, creative pursuits, creative thinking, creative acts. Very important. Number 5 is compassion. Compassion means thinking of others, empathy for others, putting yourself in somebody's shoes. That is empathy. So compassion. Then contentment. Contentment means that I am happy with what I have. I have an attitude of gratitude. I am not thankless. I am not frustrated. I want to do better. I want to get more success in life. But I'm not crying all the time. I'm not a crybaby. And the last one is a great asset to have is communication skills. Communication. That means you are able to convey your feelings, your knowledge, your thoughts effectively in writing, orally, even through your expressions. Communication skills also matter. These are the 7 C's which are essential in us. Over to you, Atul, and we'll move on from here.
Thank you, Vivek. Always love your frameworks. I'm going to remember the 7 C's. I had studied the 7 S's when I was at business school, so this is truly unique. So you spoke about controlling anger, and I was remembered of a story of Mahatma Gandhi, which I want to tell everyone today. So his grandson used to spend a lot of time with the Mahatma, and the grandson would always see people around him getting very angry. So once, I think it was Rajmohan Gandhi, if I'm not wrong, he writes it, and he asked Mahatma Gandhi, "Don't you ever get angry? I've never seen you angry. What happens?" And Mahatma Gandhi replies, he says, "Of course I get angry. I get very, very angry. There are 2 ways you can show anger. You can show it in the form of lightning, which means it comes, you get angry and you burn everyone. Or you can create electricity out of it. And I try to use my anger to move things which otherwise wouldn't move. So I use my anger to change things. And that was why Mahatma Gandhi was Mahatma Gandhi." In today's world, where there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of anxiety, I think that's the role that all of us have to play as teachers. We have to make young Indians successful. We have to make young human beings successful, because it is these young people who will then make the world a better place. And it's not just now, it's been happening for centuries, for thousands of years. That is the young people who really change the world. It started with Alexander the Great. He was all of 22 when he started conquering the world and changing the world. And that's the power that we have in our hands. And that's a bit of the passion that we have at Shoolini, Vivek. We would like to change the young minds and change the world, which I'm sure is true for your school also, teachers. So small video about Shoolini, and we'll then get into question and answers, which both Vivek and I would love to answer. If you allow me, Vivek, can I share the screen?
Oh, please, please.
Throughout history, the young have always been the ones to shape the future. And they continue to do so today. other country's biggest asset. Our best bet to conquer the future. So what are you waiting for? Your time to dream is now. Dream of the research that can change the world. Dream of a high-flying corporate career. Dream of higher studies in the world's best universities. Dream of developing cutting-edge technology of the future. Dream of your own global startup. At Shoolini University, we empower you and enable you to chase your dreams and change the world. Shoolini University. Think learning, think success.
That was from my side, Vivek. We'd love to answer any questions that the audience has. Please type it in either in the chat board or the Q&A. But there's one question from Seema. Seema ma'am is asking, you're talking about meditation, Vivek. How much do you meditate? I know you meditate a lot, but how much should a new person like me meditate?
So meditation is personal. There is no fixed time for everybody. Initially, in Kriya Yoga path, which we follow, we meditate for about 20 minutes to start. 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening. So that much is good enough to start. Even good enough for life. If you do even that, it's great. Some people can find only 5 minutes. Even that is not bad. It's okay to meditate even for 5 minutes if you are doing nothing. I meditate for 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. And that is because I do a Kriya Yoga practice, which has a lot of steps and processes, and it's a beautiful technique. So there are people who meditate more than me also, and they're active in service. So in a busy day also, I think if you prioritize, you can find out at least 20 minutes to 30 minutes in the morning and evening and meditate that much. That will help. Next question, Atul. How to curb anger?
How to curb anger, yeah.
Apna ma'am.
That's...
So I'll start, and Atul, I'm sure you'd like to add. Sapna ma'am, anger is something which is a part of our lives. It is common. It is just a normal trait like laughter or happiness, sadness, anger, emotions are part of us. So if we are angry sometimes, it's okay. If we are angry most of the time or every day, 10 times a day, and people are sick of us because we keep getting angry at them, then we need to change. Now, to curb anger, we need to understand first the bigger picture of life, that half the things that make us angry are actually not worth it. Our, let's say the helper at home doesn't clean the room properly, every day getting angry at that person doesn't have an impact. And, firmness is better than anger. As a leader, especially if you are firm and people don't take you lightly, you are tough enough for them to, not take you lightly and think that, okay, sir won't say anything. That should not be the case. But if you keep losing your cool on the other hand, then you are losing control over your emotions. And you are destroying your own peace of mind and your own health, physical health also. Your physical health suffers if you're an angry temperament kind of person. A cool, calm person will live longer, will be healthier, will be calmer, will be just fitter. So anger is something you need to analyze. Sit down and see how much you lose your temper every day. What are the reasons? Can you eliminate half the reasons? One or two things, okay, they make you angry. Then also the intensity has to go down. Instead of, some people, they start throwing things or abusing or shouting loudly. So that kind of anger is absolutely not valid or required. Atul?
So true, Vivek. It's difficult to stop being angry, but I know some people who always are negative and are complaining all the time. I think that's another particular trait that I think we should avoid and make sure that our students completely avoid it. Being optimist is so critical. I'd rather, coming back to anger, I'd rather be with someone who's angry once in a while, but comes back and is joyful again. But there are some people who keep the anger for days. And I think it's called passive aggressive behavior. So do try to avoid that. In fact, you might have come across people who they'll meet you with in a very sweet way, but you know that there are like swords out there. That's called being passive aggressive. And one of the things that we learned in our consulting world is that in a passive aggressive environment, it's better to fight with each other, get angry at each other, let the venom out, let the aggression out, and then hug each other rather than fighting it out over days and years, which is actually much worse than having an argument. So those were my two thoughts, Vivek. I'm tempted to ask you two questions. One is, you've been a great leader, Vivek. You've been in multiple situations of leadership. Tell us one time that you've been so proud of yourself, something that you've really made a change.
Yeah, I think I was very proud of one of the things I probably haven't shared in these is we started something called Adar Samman in Panchkula. And this was respect for the elderly, a program. So I was posted in Panchkula and all the offices started receiving the elderly a little more positively, a little more, proactively. Elderly people going to government office were given a pride of place, precedence. They were looked after as if they have come to a bank or an airline, instead of going to a Sarkari office. So these elderly people felt good about it. We put up posters all over Panchkula and we encouraged banks, private institutions to also follow the same. And if you notice, even internationally, when you travel, the airline or somebody will say, people, elderly persons and those with children can come forward first, that kind of thing. So if you treat the elderly with respect, and not only that, we started some counseling classes for them, how to deal with loneliness, financial problems, etc. So I was very proud and happy with that. I think we have lots of questions now on Q&A.
I think there's a couple of questions on Q&A. We have 2 more minutes, Vivek, so we should quickly go over them. I think Maninder ma'am is asking, why don't you answer these, right? I mean,
I'll answer.
Rather than me, right.
Maninder ma'am, to improve concentration in online classes, I think you need to make them interactive. You cannot have the children just listening to you. They will get bored and they don't have any reason to be looking at the screen anymore. They'll start getting busy with phones or whatever. You have to tell them to participate. And Atul was telling me the other day, they were talking how quizzes and participative activities should be done. So after about 20 minutes, you say, Raghav, what do you think about this? So Raghav, if he's not there, he cannot reply. He's marked absent. And you can give an incentive or a certificate to someone who is more attentive later. And then quickly, Kulwinder ma'am, what to do if annoying people are there in your life who make your life hell, how to tackle them nicely. See, you are right. There are people who make our life very difficult. I understand. Sometimes you have to lose your cool. That also I understand. You cannot be superhuman. But reduce your anger, reduce your intensity and reduce your frequency and ignore some of the things. That person will also see that this person is not even affected by what I'm doing. So she or he will also start cooling down. So reduce your anger, reduce your frequency and intensity. That much you can do. Arushi is asking, should children be taught anger management along with moral values? Yeah, it's a great idea to introduce the topic of anger management because children start biting and hitting each other from a very young age. And they should definitely be taught that. Atul?
Absolutely. I think meditation, I was reading a statement by Dalai Lama who said, if we can teach our children meditation right from nursery school, the world will be without terrorists and it will be a very lovely place to be. So we should do that. I think we've come to an end, Vivek. Thank you. You've been so inspiring. I hope I was okay too. And before we close, we'll request either Manpreet ma'am or Meenakshi ma'am or Supreet ma'am, please come and speak to the teachers for a minute. We'll appreciate that. And Manpreet ma'am, Supreet ma'am or Meenakshi ma'am, could you please?
Yeah, Manpreet ma'am.
Okay.
So
A very warm.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Atulji. Thank you, Vivekji. A very warm good evening, everyone. I, Meenakshi, on behalf of the Modern Family, express my heartfelt gratitude to Honorable Mr. Vivek Atray and Mr. Atul Khosla for conducting this highly motivating workshop on the theme Turning Good Teachers to Leaders. Despite of preternatural condition prevailing worldwide due to COVID-19, the various ideas shared by you were priceless, unique, like inspire students by playing role model, commenting with positive words like you have done well, extremely well, very good. Definitely, this will raise the morale of the children. Uh, on the other hand, teachers always make ordinary student extraordinary. That's an excellent idea. Think in a grand term. Various these unique, priceless ideas will be of great help to all of us. Once again, I thank you, both of you, for sparing precious time to have an interactive session with all of us. And I extend special thanks to Ms. Shikha and Mr. Kamal for coordinating and organizing this workshop. And dear colleagues, I'm extremely grateful for your active and energetic participation. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, and have a cheerful day. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Atul, sir. Thank you, Vivek, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Meenakshi ma'am, and wish all of you a very safe time and lots of happiness. And once the coronavirus goes away, would love to welcome all of you at Shoolini and of course visit your school. We know we now have friends in Patiala. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.